migration that started 50 years ago has created, for the first time for some minority groups, an opportunity at home ownership. As white people moved out of Trenton, Newark, and Camden, many blacks and Hispanics were given the chance to purchase a home for the first time. As housing prices fell, these groups found a chance to be a part of the American dream. A study by Matthew Kahn at Tufts University Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy identifies one important benefit of sprawl. It reduces the housing consumption gap between white and black Americans. Historically, there has been a gap between black and white Americans in almost every aspect of housing consumption, including ownership rates and housing sizes. But this gap has been closing in recent decades. Kahn found that a black-white home ownership and housing size gaps close as a metropolitan area's sprawl level, measured as the share of area jobs located outside a 10-mile ring of the area's central business district, increases. Important. Moreover, the study found that black households living in sprawling metropolitan areas live in larger homes, are more likely to be homeowners, and are more likely to be located in the suburbs than otherwise identical black households in less sprawled areas. Perhaps the most important conclusion was that affordability is likely to decrease in the presence of more anti-sprawl legislation. A growing body of research is providing evidence that growth controls, such as urban growth boundaries that limit the supply of developable land and impact fees imposed upon developers to recoup the cost of infrastructure and public services, can have a very real and inflationary effect on housing prices and tend to decrease affordability. Advocates of anti-suburban growth management policies should stop and consider this point. Measures to limit sprawl are likely to have unintended consequences of reducing economic opportunity for black Americans and other minorities and slowing or reversing the socioeconomic gains they have made in recent decades. For example, an article by David Whelan in the July issue of American Demographics magazine pointed out that more blacks than ever, 17%, hold college degrees, that median black household income is at record levels, with 51% of black households earning in excess of $50,000 annually. Concurrently, the percentage of blacks living in the suburbs has jumped from 34% to 39% between 1990 and 2000, and median black suburban household income totaled over $37,000 in 2000, almost 44% higher than the income earned by counterpart black households in cities. Similar trends were identified for other minority groups. Looking at the bigger picture, a recent Brookings Institution found that racial and ethnic minorities made up over 27% of the total suburban population in the 102 most populated metro areas in 2000, up substantially from 19% in 1990. It also found that the bulk of suburban population gains in many of those metro areas could be attributed to minorities. These figures may surprise those accustomed to thinking of the suburbs as the bastion of white flight immigrants. Whelan describes the black suburbanization trends succinctly. Like whites, affluent blacks head off to the suburbs with their good fortunes. In other words, the American dream of home ownership, backyards, good schools, safe communities is still alive and kicking. In fact, it's within the reach of a more diverse body of people than ever before. Moreover, the social costs of smart growth are by no means equitable. Peter Hall, the noted urbanologist from England, Sir Peter Hall, says that the less affluent house owner has paid the greatest price for urban containment. He said, there can be little doubt about the identity of the group that has got the poorest bargain. It is the really depressed class in the housing market, the poorer members of the privately rented housing sector. He said that as the impact of these policies are felt on the homeowning or the property owning democracy. Hall's 4 decades old concern strikes a chord on this side of the Atlantic. Just last year, New York Times CBS poll found that 9 out of 10 respondents associated home property ownership with the American dream. Planning needs to facilitate people's preferences, not get in their way.
Thank you.
So, does the state condone the racist objectives of this program? Is the state ready to defend its position of keeping people in their place? I don't think so. and on the basis of stymieing the continued growth of the black middle class, the state would be well advised to abandon this plan and start.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Jennifer Coffey's
I just got a few things. The reason why most people are thinking the way they do in this country's broke. They lost their trust in government from the president down. Everybody's doing a hustle. Everybody's making money under the table. We're only dealing with taxes, our money, and it's just, you just lost trust. We lost trust in people. The trust is not there no more. And we got to have a whole revolution of what's taking place in our country to get it back what we had. And it's gone, man. And most of the people starting to feel this way. And the people at the top, we're not listening to them no more. Because they're selling a line of goods. It ain't working, man. The man says one thing, he does another. That's not only with the president. That's with townships, councils, city, you name it. It's across this nation. And I'm damn tired of it, man. I'm 67, I'm damn tired. I served time in Nam. I did what I love my country, but I'll be damned. My kids got to go to college. Harvard's $53,000 a year. Well, that's telling you one thing. All these people in here, they ain't sending their kids there. You know who's sending them there? The elitists. 4 years in Harvard, $200,000, and they get a job on Wall Street, the Brooklyn's up there, to wheeling a deal for them dudes in Washington, D.C. Who's kidding who? This is a bunch of, this is it, man. Don't have trust. That's the reason why we get upset listening to you people. Because the trust is not there. This is a bill of goods that's been going on for 50, 60 years. And it ain't coming, and nothing's happening, man. We're paying more and getting less.
Best country in the world. I wouldn't want to live in any other country but this. But our government really sucks.
Our government sucks.
They suck.
Something's got to be done. Jennifer Coffey, Leah.
Government sucks.
Hi. A couple of you have heard me speak before, so I'll do my best to try to keep it short tonight. My name is Jennifer Coffey. I live in Central Jersey. I live in a rural community, and I love it. Caught up for freehold. I'm a landowner, I'm a private citizen. I've lived in New Jersey my entire adult life. I am also fortunate enough to work in a job that I love, that I'm passionate about, that I've always wanted to do. I work for an organization called the Stony Brook Millstone Watershed Association. And in that position, I have the good fortune of working with 26 really great municipalities in Central Jersey to help them achieve their own local land use vision while protecting regional environmental resources. I believe in local planning. I believe in regional planning, and I believe in state planning because our natural resources are regional. Clean water is regional. If we don't plan to protect enough clean water for everybody, for our businesses, for our residents, if we don't plan, we fail to plan, then we're just planning to fail. And we cannot afford to fail when it comes to our water resources. Our water resources are critical to agriculture. It's why we're the Garden State. It's critical to us being at the top of the chain as the #1 producers, #2 producers, #3 producers of things like Jersey tomatoes, best in the country. Jersey cherries, Jersey peaches, Jersey lettuce. If we don't have enough clean water for our agriculture, then we're going to fail. Clean water is important for our tourism, for our beaches, for our kayaking, for our canoeing, for our wildlife watching. If we don't have clean water, our tourism industry, one of our #1 industries, fails. If we don't have clean water, you don't have water coming out of your tap that you can drink. You have to worry about when you're canoeing or kayaking or your kids goes down to the waterway to go play in it and they fall in. You have to worry about ear infections and eye infections and nose infections. That's failure to me. So regional planning, like we can do at the state level. We can look at our aquifer recharge areas. So when the rain comes down like it has the last couple days and it seeps into the ground and it goes into our groundwater resources and somewhere we tap into it and it comes out of a pipe, we can protect that, but we have to do it regionally. And this plan, I know it isn't popular with everybody to say this, I don't think it's strong enough. I think we need to have more detail in the plan. We need to have a map. Because if we don't have a map, somebody's going to come up with a map, and they're going to want to put somewhere that somebody doesn't want it, that may be in a wetlands, that's needed for reducing flooding, that may be in an aquifer recharge area that I need to drink from, that may be draining into a stream that your kid or your granddaughter wants to swim in. The plan needs more detail, and I would ask that the State Planning Commission hold off, develop more detailed criteria, make it a better plan, make it a stronger plan, make it a plan that we can look at the map and say, okay, yeah, we want to get behind infrastructure investment, and we want to fix the stormwater pipes. We want to fix the wastewater pipes that are broken, that are leaking raw sewage into our streams. We want to fix the drinking water lines that lose 60 million gallons a day of drinking water that you pay for, and you pay for, and you pay for. Treat. Let's do strategic investing. Let's do strategic planning. Let's make the plan more detailed. Let's have a good plan. Let's move forward with a New Jersey that we can be proud of. And I think there's the opportunity to do that here in this regional plan. So I thank you for your work. I thank everybody for coming out to all of these hearings. And I look forward to continuing to work on this plan.
Thank you, Jen. Bill Wolf is after Megan.
So good evening. My name is Megan Brass, and I'm the Conservation Advocate in the Government Relations Department for New Jersey Audubon Society. The society was founded in 1897. It's one of the oldest independent Audubon societies, and it has 23,000 members. I'll be submitting more complete written comments, but I just wanted to make a few important points this evening. Strategic planning at all levels of government is essential for sustainable communities that provide for a high quality of life from which natural resources and the tremendous services they provide to New Jerseyans like clean air and water and open space in which to explore and recreate are accounted for and protected. The state strategic plan plays a particularly critical role in these efforts because it works at a regional scale. That's the level at which natural resources must be considered and are most effectively protected. An updated plan for New Jersey is long overdue, and this process to renew New Jersey state plan is significant. It's imperative that this revision be viewed as an opportunity to better incorporate the protection of our natural resources, and as an integral component of how we restore and develop our communities. There are some notable positive elements of the plan. The fact that it recognizes that there's a need to improve the state's approach to planning in its future. Also, the fact that preservation has an elevated role in the plan, like in goal number 3. But there are a number of problematic elements that need to be addressed. As Jen noted, the plan lacks detail. While it is not appropriate for a state strategic plan to include significant detail regarding implementation, it has to provide sufficient structure and direction for achieving stated goals. It doesn't specifically address the need to protect natural resources and human health. The plan emphasizes land preservation, but it doesn't adequately address the need to protect water, air, wildlife, and other natural resources, nor the need to address environmental quality issues. It lacks location criteria for determining where growth should occur, and lacks non-growth areas. And it also sets the stage for an uncertain future for water quality. Of particular concern to New Jersey Audubon is the reference to the landscape project. And for those of you who don't know, the landscape project identifies where threatened and endangered species are located throughout the state. So when we're thinking about development and planning, we know to avoid these areas where these that are critical for wildlife. Since the landscape project was launched in 1994, it has undergone continuous improvements under a peer review process, and its use has been upheld. The landscape project recently underwent its most recent revision to reflect the state's newly updated list of threatened and endangered species, thereby ensuring that the project incorporates the most up-to-date and scientific information. Referring to the use of the landscape project as an example of an unintended consequence under the section entitled "A Broken State Planning Framework" is unwarranted, and the claim that landscape data is flawed is unfounded. So I think those are some of the really problematic issues that we've done within the plan, and we hope that they'll be addressed.
Thank you very much. After Bill, we have King Hannah.
Good evening. My name is Bill Wolf. I came here tonight mostly to listen to what people had to say. I didn't prepare written comments. Frankly, I was disappointed, startled by some of the press reports I read of some of the things that people did say. Unfortunately, I heard quite a bit of that kind of warped ideology, fact-free rhetoric, spewed tonight, and that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that our planning professionals can't effectively rebut it, because it's the nature of this process is not amenable to, frankly, to one-on-one sharing of real ideas. The context that brings us here tonight is we're victimized by a housing bubble. The economy crashed because there was a housing bubble. Okay, that there was speculation by Wall Street in economic investments in real estate. Now, had there been effective growth management in place, instead of every parcel of land in the state of New Jersey zoned for development at the local level and green lights at the state level in Trenton from this administration and from prior administrations and rubber stamp permits at DEV that were spoken to earlier, had we had an effective growth management program in place that would have prevented the real estate bubble from forming a bubble, it would not, and would have prevented the economic collapse we have. So just think about the meaning of planning when people talk about resistance to property taxes. Your property taxes are driven by what's known as the ratables chase. The more development you bring into town, the higher your taxes are going to be. That's just a demonstrable fact. There have been study after study after study. So to not understand that and to fight planning on the basis of we don't want high property taxes is just ludicrous logic. It's not grounded in reality. It's not fact-based. And frankly, you can't come to a public hearing and say that kind of stuff unless you've done the work and familiarized yourself with a little bit of the content of what you're trying to engage in. And that's a responsibility of a citizen. Okay? That's citizenship. And unfortunately, that's a deficit we have.
Wait a minute.
With respect to
Wait a minute. Are you, no. This is,
You have to allow him to speak. We went over this.
With respect to the context, we have the largest economic disparities that we've ever seen in this country since the 1930s depression. That's caused by corporate investment decisions. That is not a government problem. We have sustained unemployment levels that are the highest since the depression. We have the most corporate control of government that we've ever had in the history of this country, when presidents since FDR have said that that is the biggest jeopardy to democratic governance is the power of corporate America. Now, with respect to the plan, so I'll go on to the plan. Very quickly, I'll reiterate Mike's points from New Jersey Environmental Lobby, Jeff Tittle's points from Sierra Club, and Audubon's points, all of them in toto. The plan promotes economic development everywhere, yet it does so in a way that doesn't address the fundamental flaw in the economy, which is demand problem. It's a supply-oriented plan and strategy. It's radically different from prior state plans. I'll differ with your point, and it's a radical departure in that it is not a land use plan. And every state plan prior to this point has been a state land use plan, and that's been a generally accepted legal interpretation of the State Planning Act as to require a state land use plan. The last point and that I like to make is I'm very concerned about weakening DEP functional plans and programs and regulations through the alignment process under EO78. We'll be submitting written comments on those issues.
Thank you. Andrew Danielle, YouTube it.
You're the one who said it first, sir. I didn't tag
Okay,
you.
show you.
King Penna, Clifton, New Jersey. I want to say I take umbrage to the fact that you say the citizenship, but I got to tell you something, that, you say Wall Street was the problem. Wall Street wasn't the problem. Wall Street was a conduit who took a product and sold it. It was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac who were the problem. So let's address the issues the way they are.
You do your
You said
research.
not to go off the plan, but you allowed him to go and off the plan, way off the plan. Okay, and you made comments that were totally out of line. I want to talk about. You want to talk about economic development? You have a list of people here. They had an economic development meeting. We had Rutgers State University, New Jersey, Edward Bolson School of Planning. Again, the same person, or same person representing the same organization. The Voorhees Transportation Center. Rutgers University again represented again at that meeting. The Brookings Institute, the Chamber of Commerce, the Reinvestment Fund, the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, Choose New Jersey. Here's a great one: PNC Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, Bank of America, and the Chevron Capital. These folks, we had to bail them out. And we're asking them for their input on this plan. I think it's atrocious. I think it's really atrocious that the fact that the people of New Jersey didn't get to say what they want. Okay? And the fact that we only had 6 meetings and that most of these people have been in this game for a long, long time. And I got to tell you something. All this, we got to get these centers and we're going to put all these people together. I lived it. I was born and raised in the city of Newark, in the ghettos. And I seen the projects. They knocked them down because they didn't work. Okay? They didn't work then and they're not going to work now. It's ridiculous that we're going to talk about this. The government needs to get off the backs of the people. That's the problem. And what happens is that we get cronies like you who come in here and speak that we don't know what we're talking about. I got to tell you something. 30 years I've been in business. I dropped out of high school. I don't have a college education, thank God. Okay? And I guarantee you that I make more money in a week than you make in a year. One of us is stupid. When you figure that one out, let me know. Okay? School of Public Affairs Administration in Rutgers. The Workforce Development, Newark Alliance. Again, the Bolson School of Public Planning, 3 times. All these people, there's not one business on there. One business who would create jobs and understand how to develop. I was a builder in Princeton. I walked away from the building industry because I got to tell you, the regulations in this state suck. Excuse the expression. There's no other way to put it. You got to deal with the people who are worrying about cutting down the trees. They're worrying about this. They're worrying about that. What happens to the people who live here? We worry more about the animals than we do about the human race. It's absolutely crazy. We need a balance. But we're going too far, and it's absolutely out of control. And the other problem we have in this state is we can't pay for this stuff. Who's going to pay for it? They keep taxing more, taxing more, taxing more, taxing more. They're going to tax me right out of the state. We lost a congressman. We lost over 300,000 people. And the other thing I wanted to say to you is you talked about the census, that the data from this new data wasn't up to date yet. We based our whole legislative districts on that. So if it's not, we better throw all of that out and have a whole new election. So that data right now is being used. And that's the data that's being used. So why are we not basing this on that data? And we're using 4-year-old or 10-year-old data to do this plan. I have to tell you, I am so frustrated. It's unbelievable. It's the fact of the matter is that we're building a bigger and bigger government. We need to get the government off the backs of people. We know how to build a system. We know how to build a country. We know how to build a state. We've done it already. Thomas Jefferson said it the best. A government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. And that's where we're going. We're going to a socialistic society where the government wants to control everything. The state can't do anything right. They took over education. It's a mess. Not to mention money. Let's talk about money. The money is the greatest thing here. The money, we have the New Jersey Mortgage and Housing Association, I think it's called. They're funded by funds for motor vehicle. Where the heck do we come off taking funds for motor vehicle? They should be funding the infrastructure of our roads. But this is what we've done in the city, in the